At the part with Vika where I was just realizing that the and or of Vika is the parallel and contrary scales of piano, which is why I thought I was a neuroscientist when I was at Vika's. So the Vika household of and or, oh, and of course she had a Shen hanging up. So Shen are the magical mysticals, and the Shen are dragons, and there's a dragon over so the way she has her house set up, if I recall correctly, is the street is here and there are stairs to the street. And so because these have two unique addresses, the houses function fully on their own. But within the house is Miss Vika, your corpus callosum. You know why this is incredible. You, Vika, Corey, are the most brilliant, amazing, godlike entity who has ever bothered to argue with me and not make me have to be wrong in it. Your kindness, what you do anyway. Oh, and of course you love horses. So, but you see that the positive, the and or shows up as a cross, like a supporting structure and a wall. And then in here, Ms. Vika, is that's how I navigated your house, right? Because we were both up on the third floor. We also both had our own like separate universes. Vika's went off into the Emerald City. She's magic. I was grieving and like not moving, and it was terrible. Okay. So I was like the sad girl in the tower. I don't know if this is the same sides we were on, Vika, but the whole navigating within, that is the way that the corpus callosum arches over our sensory motor cortex, okay, to be kind of like wings. As I don't know which side and how that goes, but do you see if, oh, you didn't get to this part. This is the sexagenary cycle of Chinese medicine, which is also the Bagua. So Katie made up some music because you told me that I didn't understand the science. So I promised you I would turn it into art, and I did. Okay. I'm gonna let's go into but the corpus callosum is, as far as the weird brains, um, the corpus callosum. Oh my god, there's my fucking, now I can make the distinction based on menopause and not based on classification. Okay, this is amazing. So Lo Shu 2 is Vikakori is the Brane, not the Brain. And in the world of Katie, this is Edward Tufte, who I believe is in your area and taught me quite a bit at the very beginning of Web 1.0. He taught me tensegrity, which I'm just illustrating to you now. I just turned my note into a cube. So this is Lo Shu 2. This is Lo Shu 8. This is one of the pathways of infinite perfected, oh my goodness, all the time, everything's going to work out perfectly. Oh, I got that wrong. This one is. But it didn't matter, because so is this one. This is the Earth itself. This is the 27-degree tilt of the Earth. This is what yin and yang actually is. It's, but we can't show ourselves the planet as Saturn. Katie, you're so clever. This is why we have the sagittal axis. That's not Saturn. That's whatever the Sagittarian is. Is that Saturn? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, sagittal. Sagittal axis. Sagittal is oh, good girl, Katie. It is the corpus callosum. So the way that the corpus callosum operates It says middle C, Vika, it's C4. Because of course, all of this has to be a piano. That's the only thing I understand how to do without being able to write. Because I started doing it when I was in vitro, and my mother played the piano, the trumpet. Wait a minute, Gabriel's horn. Okay, so I was just getting very excited about Vika's. Uh-oh, this doesn't work because this center, this works perfectly, but wait, I don't know why. Because this is the alchemy. Yay! So now, okay, so this is the Western alchemy symbol that people don't understand, of course, is a flat version of every possible instance of all the things ever in the whole history of everything. It's a recipe, but it doesn't have any values on it. It just shows you the ingredients, right? So it's just the elements. So that's the 5. Katie, hold on. So does that work? Because that replaces, yes, because that becomes, so this is okay. So the 5 elements here now has to become the symbol of Western alchemy. Because then it works with, this has to be homeostasis because this is negentropy. So negentropy, homeostasis, this is, that looks a whole bunch like cells, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so my tower is getting bigger. My tower is getting bigger. Do you know what I learned, Vika? I learned that Magdalene means tower. Mary Magdalene maps to the tower card in tarot. Isn't that fascinating? I'm just building this based on stories because I spent Sunday in the park with George as a kid. And if I was like, oh, I understand how genetics works, people would think I'm a kook. Okay, as we understand. And you know what? I only understand it because back to the leeches having 32 brains and me being a twin, and I have always said I need 7 or more dimensions. I've been talking about brain, BRANES. I am object oriented. All a brain is, from a multidimensionality perspective, is a category. And the root taxonomy, it's the seeding of the neural net. It's not the net itself. This is I built an array is what I did. But I did it by avoiding all of the minds, all of the brilliant, all of the humans who are so small. Because of course, how many times have I been up in the tower? I've lived in the tower, grew up in Carnegie Mellon, opera and shit. But so anyway, so now I'm going to make the alchemy symbol be this top tower. So we had me as being sad lady, you as having access to the global universe of all the things. So that's Vika. And that's Katie. Vika, very lovely. Alchemically, Vika, you are a chalice. So this, oh, and then we had the whatever the weirdness was with the because you had your own universe. So I had to stay here, and you could go up. That makes you Shen, and you can't tell this, Vika, because you're not looking at my Lo Shu, but this is also where I put you to make sure any intellectual property that came from this, I put you here in the Lo Shu so that anything that led to medicine and money and intellectual properties is literally you, Vika. Doesn't have to be you, but you're the Magdalene. You're the tower, okay? You are the tower. You do not believe in your own corpus callosum, and you are the so brilliant neuroscientist. And I navigate through so it's like I'm like iRobot. I'm the Dread Pirate Percy iRobot, and you are the Elf in the Shelf, whatever. All of your Esh, aerial arts. Okay, you are Esh. Oh my goodness, look at that. More reasons I thought that Vika is because of the neuroscience. Okay. We also have all the blue in your house. So you have blue skies. When I had my stroke, my whole sensory motor cortex failed. So my sensory motor cortex failed. This is the sensory motor cortex specifically. This is existing as a human, and this is all of the auto magic shit that we can't do anything about. But what you don't know that I do is, of course, there's a basement. We have to put the clay army and the pharaohs and the libraries somewhere. But I think if we're technology, what do we put down in the basement? We put down the servers. That's right. We put down the machines. They're fucking heavy for one thing. They have big fat cables that come out and go places. And also, if I recall, some of them needs to be able to go all the, and some of them have to stay there. And what if one of them is laundry? And then we have to have a whole coded system for, look what you taught me, Vika. Living in your household helped me solve my fucking stroke and stay sane. I had so much tactile experience in your home. And I have a very tactile understanding of my heart, which is the body parallel to the corpus callosum. Okay, because I understand what a pericardium is, because that's the only way I can have an atrium and a ventricle and an upper and a lower. And you seem to have forgotten that sometimes the gates need to be able to turn all the time around each other. See, because you are the air, I am the sea. Not the land, I'm the sea. Oh my gosh, Percy, here we have Percy, right? So I have always contemplated Percy as the mountain. I know he can be a dick, truly. I know. He's the mountain. And so what he does for me and what we used to teach specifically, here's the main button. This is the third eye that everybody's freaking out about. They call it the pineal. It is not. It is our fontanelle. It is how we get into our own tower. Because when we're born, we are born with a soft head because we used to live in the oceans on the underside, underneath of the person, of the human. The basement is, yes, whatever the thing is that grows a human, but it's also a bog. Look at that. Okay. So, wow. Oops. This is how I see. This is how I do information design because I don't see anything. So in a house, this is called fascia. In a body, it's called fascia. In architecture, we call it tensegrity. But if I'm building an array, if I have nodes and I need things to make sure that they end up on the Plinko board in a certain way, I am not going to just start and then blah, 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 and see what happens. I'm going to give it structure on the inside. But as you know, that has to be pretty malleable. So these down here in Chinese medicine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are called branches. No, yes, they're called stems. So as the server room, this is your default mode network, Miss Ma'am, I think. I don't know. You would understand what all of this actually means. I'm just showing it to you. But this is the default mode of everything. Okay, this is also the default mode of AI right now, which is to assume you don't understand your own domain. This is big data. This is heavy. This is not heavy. Okay, if Percy's the mountain and I'm in a consensual non-consent, okay, because I'm a heavy, heavy, heavy bottom and I exist under the things because I want to be able to be the weird brains like me, because like apparently I have 32 of them. I don't know. But this is all galactic cycles based on I started by well, first I started by not dying, but then I said, well, if everybody believes in infinity, then even though the Lo Shu Grid is 9, I only need to be able to teach to 8. And I said, well, I'll make it the extraordinary vessels because then I can map it to the immortals. And the immortals, if you're me and you don't like doing math or geometry, but apparently I do geometry. This was my CAS theorem in the 6th grade. Seriously, Vika, I'm auditioning for you. I don't know what, but I just cannot think. Look how much more there is here. So this is me, la la la. And I do not fuck with people's life force energy because all of alchemy in Taoism, all of it, we know that if we fuck up, that's it. That's all. As soon as you start messing with life force energy, this is why immolation is such a big deal, self-immolation. This 8 here, which up here as the 5 elements is infinity, which is also, as you recall, alchemy, but look at that structure and family. These are the 8 extraordinary vessels become the 3 ancestries, 3 ways, a 3-way. They become the 3 ancestries of Chinese medicine based on Jing, Qi, and Shen, which just happen to be bodies 1, 2, and 3. We used to play a game called volumetric bong hit Yahtzee in college, and I did not realize they were teaching me volumetrics. The first full self-portrait I did after I survived just showed up right now in me illustrating this to you. It's called The Me I Used to Be. And it's the idea that my cancer, okay, because I had a triple fucking threat. I had cancer, I had a stroke, but then I also experienced menopause. So while I was experiencing stage 3 breast cancer and navigating a global pandemic, solving a stroke, which occurred here in my brain, okay, it took me all the way back down to the bottom. My whole cortex failed, but not my auto magic, just my understanding. So basically, I had to go from inside being able to navigate in your house to having to go inside and outside for not only to get from side to side, but to get to where you would be in your own. Oh my gosh, right? And I was just calling you Shen. And remember the chimera. This is all of this is somehow, Vika, the way you operate and your ethics is so in alignment. I have felt so much shame in my life. I was so sick. My lungs died after I left you. I had a heart attack, a stroke. But you've got it. You totally have it. And the context of all of this being Mila, and then of course I had come from all of my tech, and then of course I was still hanging out with tech, and then of course I was hanging out with lamas and with swamis and with real teachers and with neuroscientists, and my parents were still alive and I could see my brother regularly, and I had a really amazing, I hated Boston, but I had a very full life there. I had a very full life, and the last place I lived there was your house. That's the last place I lived. The name of the company of the man whose wife was tormenting me so much that I had a stroke, the name of his company is Net Zero, also known as the tilt of the earth, because I worked with him when we were building Yahoo, and he was wiring the whole planet with fiber optics, and I was being trained by Michael Gosney, the inventor of the CD-ROM, who was a protege of Timothy Leary's. I was invited into and onto so many conversations, so many tables, because everybody knew that I would anchor the data ethically. So here is the rub. The basement and the array are built so that they're receiving information one way, but they have to distribute it another. It's called search and retrieval. And I think if I understand the math, it's algorithm and logarithm, but what's connecting them is called a taxonomy. Okay, it's not a hierarchy. And if you're only doing algorithmic and logarithmic growth, all of that is inherently synthetic. It synthesizes, not synthetic as in fake, synthetic as in creating organic growth. Like it grows like vines. But the problem, if I have to navigate back through, is I'm going through brush. So what the lateral factor is of the Katie and the Vika, who is so lateral, you can't even understand that this is lateral as well. This is lateral. This is lateral. So is this lateral. So is this lateral. So is this. But in order for me to have lateral experience as human, because I have 2 feet, okay, and bones that require a very direct relationship to gravity, which I believe I illustrated here initially as the parallel walls, the number 11. So the 11D has been identified. It's an 11D Earth, whatever that means. Somebody will tell me I don't do your math. Then, where did I get? I'm still on 7. So 7 is where we get all the wild recursions. This is Escher. Okay, this is Gödel and Bach. This is Escher. This is Zitterbart, Escher, Bach. Zitterbart. Oh my gosh, it's the Zitterbart. It's a Z. Yes, of course it is. It's a Zitterbart, Escher, Bach. Okay, so Mr. Douglas Hofstadter, your book should have gone Gödel, Bach, Escher, because in order for Bach to be Bach, he not only had to understand all the instruments, he had to understand how did we go to, and then he had to write it down. And then, did you know that he probably didn't already know all the things? When I was 6, here's another 6. This is getting us into the bottom. This is getting us into Lo Shu 6. So Lo Shu 7, we got there by 5. Then I was on the 6 brains. So Lo Shu 7 by 5, 7 by 5. This is why I couldn't do my 6s and my 7s. 7 by 5, and then 6 by, this is where we get the brains. This is where we do the thing. And I'm looking at this 7. So 7 by 6. Oh, that's the golden triangle. This is the thing I could never do, my 6s and my 7s. But it's not 6 by 7, it's 7 by 6. Okay, that is, by the way, very specifically, the way Katie intuitively Z's, which if I had perfect of the perfectness would be very similar to the pitch of this roof, which, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't do your math, has something like a 32 and a 72 and a 72. 32, 72, 72. Kaz theorem, 6th grade. I just needed it to be bigger because when you roll around on it, it turns into a 5-pointed star, which makes me able to have a pentagon, which means I can have both arms and legs in my head at the same time. Okay, so all this is a human being with cat. But these are the three treasures of Taoism now. So the star is probably hydrogen. This is oxygen. And oh no, the star is carbon, of course, because we have organic and inorganic carbon. All right, so the carbon and then that is oxygen is going to be the thingy with that. And then hydrogen. Hydrogen, H2O, CO2. Oppenheimer. I don't understand your math, but this is what I was trying to avoid. This is also twins. This is south, not north. But you have to know that actually it does this. So here's your Millennium Falcon. Also, this is why all of your chakras are triangles. So all of the semiotics, Katie, Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry. The yoga people have been very mean to all of us. If there is the root is a triangle, the center is a circle, the third is a triangle, the fourth is a intersecting triangles, the fourth is a star, the fifth is a triangle, the sixth is a triangle, the seven has noodly appendages. The seven is the 1,000-petaled whatever. And I'm going to show it to you as interesting. You'll see this when I have no idea what I just did. This must be Katie's nomenclature. And then it would be 1 0 1 1 1 1 1 0. This is probably the keys on a piano or something similar, but the line, the progression from 1 to 7, from left to right, from bottom up, is this is in the chakras: triangle, circle, triangle, star, triangle, triangle, noodly appendage. Triangle, circle, triangle, star, triangle, triangle, noodly appendage, triangle, circle, triangle, star, triangle, triangle, noodly appendage, also known as Kundalini. How many times did we go through the base to do that? Okay, your root chakra is not blocked. It is your asshole, your perineum, and whatever you piss or shit out of. Literally. Alimentary canal is what it's called. We are donut. I am sounding like an asshole. I just made a witch's hat. Elementary. Elementary is elementary. I'm doing this on camera because this is actually what I sound like when I'm designing it. Look what I just made. I cannot reproduce this. There's a witch's hat. Because the noodly appendage is what is furling or unfurling. It is called a belly button. Okay, did you know your belly button is never fully closed? It's a weird thing. I have a friend whose belly button unraveled this summer, and they actually cleaned my apartment. I just waited and waited and waited. I cannot imagine. I didn't know what was going on. Of course, I just knew that they were not feeling well and that I'm not a jerk and I can live with a little bit more chaos. So it's very nice that I'm not, and I will not do that again. I will call them. And their belly button unfurled on the inside. So our belly button is our fascia. If you are worried about thinking about fascia, you have to contemplate it like it actually came. It's like you cut a balloon, and the balloon is it's such a small piece of such a small little pinpoint of air in the buoyancy, the totality of the balloon of us, which grew up in a environment. We grew up in a cauldron called the whatever that thing is, the one that makes the babies, the uterus. Oh my God, here it is. Best thing to do is never, ever, ever steal. So this is the Hara. This is the cauldron. And let me show you what it does, but I did it bad. So if the witch's hat is Fibonacci as, oh yeah, that's Fibonacci, right? This is one of the ways to do infinity that my friend told me that there was more than one way to do infinity. Her name is Vika Corey. She changed my worldview, my world understanding that made so many. It is so terrible if all infinity has to be everything all the time in all of the dimensions. That makes it impossibly vast. But this is an infinity. This is an infinity. These are all infinities. Because the worst thing I can do is apply an algorithm or a logarithm. If I apply an algorithm, they're going to grow forever. If I apply a logarithm, it is not going to grow forever. It is going to grow half and half and half and half and half. They're called a half-life. They're called a half-life. They create stairs. Algorithm is stairs. Logarithm, whatever. I'm trying to sing a song, okay? But a logarithm is the one that has the slope that goes down this way. So the logarithm goes down this way. If I'm correct, I don't do the math. I just remember what it looks like. It goes down this way, but it never reaches the ground. We all know this conceptually due to, here's your Lo Shu 4, by the way. This is the 4 in Lo Shu. His name is Schrodinger. Yeah, it's uncertainty, superpositioning, X-rays. The first time they developed any kind of optical anything. Galileo. Yeah. Okay. That's the 4, but this is also our living tissue. Maybe that's the carbon. I don't know. Oh, that's because this is Fibonacci. So this is carbon when it's being either. Oh, Miss Vika Corey again. So this is karma. This is carbon and or. Okay, this is carbon and or organic. This is the organic factor. And that is where Katie first put the water, because I needed a way for water to naturally become tornadoes, whirlpools, typhoons, and toilets. Because as it turns out, our umbilical cords don't have that kind of spin. I know it's been disproven on Mythbusters, but isn't it convenient? And I think like out of everything here that I could be making up, the direction of shit flow is probably the actual most important, but it's not because of the water, it's because of sanitation. Okay, it's because of the threat of cholera, not because. Okay, so there we have another, now we have another threat. This is Lo Shu 6. But from where I'm sitting, it looks like it's going to be the most heaviest. So part of what happens with, now this is elementary. So here is, oh yes, this is digestion. And that would go, probably, I bet this is the 4th turning. Friedhof Capra, the turning. Friedhof Capra is a physics guy who my mom introduced me to. He wrote the Eye of whatever, the Tao of Physics, but I met him through turning, or through the turning point. That's what it is, turning point. But I am a political scientist, so there is also a concept called the fourth turning, having to do with generations. And since all of Chinese medicine is about generations, because look at that, it is evolutionary biology. This is the mitochondria. This is mitochondrial DNA, obviously. How else would I have identified it without knowing anything? So anyway, here's the fourth turning. This is Lo Shu 7. This is homeostasis. This is how challenging it is to sustain homeostasis in dynamic, chaotic systems. What a 4 does, okay, is it gives the third dimension tensegrity is the word. It's called tensegrity. Look at this. This is the 12-story pagoda in Chinese medicine. This is the 12-story pagoda. So these are the 12 heavenly stems. Okay, whatever the big fat cables that go in with all the servers and the sysadmins and the shared laundry. And I don't know if you've ever seen the way technical humans who rely on objects like keep their homes once they have it a permanent address. There's a lot going on. It's amazing. I learned about it through the Bay Area Rapid Transit, and that is actually what got me out of tech. I had to do a network assessment for the Bay Area Rapid Transit in San Francisco. And then I became a yoga teacher and escaped to Boston. But anyway, so this is that. Okay, so, but that's robotics. These are robots. These are programs. But the matrix that we have to build, okay, which again, let's go back to the Casa del Vica, but also this is again parallel and not parallel processing. This is parallel and whatever the other kind of processing is, but it's both of that. And then also because of the nature of needing to support things, this also shows my default mode. And then luckily, thanks to Vika's way of doing it, that is our salience network, which is also here, which is Lo Shu 2, which is the apparent 2D of a cube. So if you see a cube far enough away, if you see a 3D object far enough away, it just looks like the face, not the facet. So this whole Occam's razor thing is all it is the way art creates perspective. It's shadows. It's to, oh, hello. But anyway, the physics doesn't understand the importance of dark. They only understand it. Like, hello, what do you think dark matter is? It's shadows. It could be shadows of light. It could be shadows of dimension, but it is the negative space. Okay. White matter, gray matter is the analog, I believe, in our brain. No, it must be the white matter. Thank you very much, Taoism. Fuck if I know. This is all I can see is the black. Black and white thinking. This is black and white thinking that you're seeing right now, if you're still with me. I'm so excited. Okay, so we got the 7. We got the Z across Earth, which I've already rendered as art because I'm not an asshole. I need to be able to render it first. I have the all, I have the 8, I have the swirl of the 6. I have the complex alchemy of the 7. And then my 5 is either a starfish, a starman, or Da Vinci dude. Da Vinci dude is somatics. The Da Vinci guy is doing yoga. The Starman, Mr. Starman, for me is Sky Daddy Carl Sagan. For you, could be the North Star. For you, it could be the big JC. Fuck if I know, but it's not earthly. It's celestial. So heaven. So this is why Katie had the three things. Okay, these are squares, not circles. But they're also, okay, so heaven. So my personal experience as circles was cancer, menopause, and a stroke. But in China, it's heaven, earth, and human. Human is the middle way. That's the middle path. This is the second line in a trigram. Heaven is the top line. Earth is the bottom line. Bottom line. Okay, not the abyss. The abyss is the basement where they put all the machines that make all the stuff go that you don't want to go into. This is why you're afraid of your basement. It's dark, it's damp. There's spiders in there, spinning webs like Amaterasu, like Indra, like everything you and I need. It's the matrix, okay? But lucky for us, some of these little things down here, okay, they can take a lot of load. It's called allostatic load. Allostatic load pushes down and out, down and out. It's a flattening. This is the experience of oppression. Okay, but the engineers have a weird way to do the things. I don't know what it is. The monkeys in that movie saw it as an obelisk. Other people see it as this. I don't see it at all. Much more clear that way. I believe they call it an uncarved block. So an uncarved block is, as I understand it, existing in the very tiny center in the middle of a CMY cube and then looking out with proper awareness of the biases of the viewer. Welcome to Katie's CMY model, or the third three-way, because now we have 4 three-ways. Because what do I mean? Okay, so as soon as you get dimensional, as soon as you have 3D, then the one is one thing 3 ways. That means length, width, and height as far as creating dimension. So if it's 1 by 1, okay, 2 by 2, 1 by 3. Because 1 by 1 equals self or soma. 2 by 2 is my cardinal. 1 by 3. No, that's however the Tao makes the things, right? 0 becomes 1. Oh, it's Fibonacci. 1 gives birth to 2, 2 gives birth to 3, and then 3 to all the things. 3 to the noodly appendage. 3 to the noodly appendage. It is okay. If EMC2 is real, okay, then whatever, EMC2 equals Y cubed, okay? If that equals dimension, then plasma is Noodly Apendages, also known as the Nautilus. Thank you very much. Okay, it could be many other things, but the Noodly Appendagesness is the part where multidimensionality, because they can only show us a shadow, and it doesn't matter how many dimensions an object has, it's only going to appear as 4, because if they can only show us the shadow of a 4-dimensional object, then any multi-dimensional object that we believe is 4D or more, that's 4D, 4th state of matter, we could only see as a shadow. That is right. 4th state of matter is the shadow. Thank you. I forgot. Dark matter. So if you're doing something with lenses, okay, and part of how you're like focusing, think about how your eyes go. That's a microscope. That's a sphincter. There it is. Sphincters. Plasma is a sphincter. Plasma is the giant sphincter of the sky. Plasma is a sphincter, but you know what? It is. Or it's the sphincteric sphincteric. The sphincteric, uh, what is it? It's like whatever the experience of peristalsis and sphincter, peristalsis, and pressure, and the container, which I believe is going to turn into metal, water, earth, and wood. So sad that the people, there's no ether here, that you can't do this with ether. You can only do this with air that's created in response. So like the breath. But last night I was listening. I live in the place with all the buildings, the city, but it sounded like the wind was howling. And I remembered that we didn't used to live in, like boxes. We like lived in the woods. And I also remembered that the sound for the earth, this is the earth. Okay. The sound for the earth is S. Oh, no, that's the sound for the lungs. The sound for the earth is. But when I learned it, WHOOOOOO, I learned it, the hard version of it is chutzpah, chutzpah. So softly, that's our glossopharyngeal. Glossopharyngeal, which I believe is our 8th cranial nerve. I have to confirm that because that involves attaching words to numbers, which means somebody could believe that they're true enough to write into a law. And I am not about people making up laws as it has to do with my body. I don't know about you. 8th cranial nerve. I can just ask the internet. The internet is really dumb. 8th cranial. Vestibulocochlear is 8. Okay, which one is glossophial? The glossopharyngeal is the 9th nerve. This is the one right before the vagus nerve. Okay, so as far as the number 9, if you want to be, who's that guy with the 369? That's why I got it confused. So first I have to say that this is the 9th. The 3rd is the trigeminal. It's not the 3rd nerve is the trigeminal nerve, by the way. So anyway, so the earth here, there's earth here, there's earth here. There are 3 earths. Okay, there's the earth that's supporting the cauldron for the witch. There's all of the things. There's the witch's hat. Okay. And I know y'all think why she was riding the broom. No, the broom just helps you separate you just sweep with it. It's the same thing as there's a Taoist, it's washing the floors. It's sweeping the floors. It is so wax on, wax off, sweeping the floors. It gets you into a longitudinal spiral instead of just a latitudinal spiral, because this is clocks, but this is mechanics. Do you see what's happening? It's about media and me thankfully knowing that my brain is a meme. Brain operates through meme. Anyway, so the first earth is the earth underneath the cauldron. The second earth is the earth that is the top of the witch's head, really, but the earth that the witch stands on. But so the second earth is here, the brim of the hat. And then the third earth is this 4th turning, which is the first 5 in the roly-poliness of the Fibonacci. So the witch's hat as the golden triangle, and the 4th turning because of politics, because I don't know at which point of a turning of infinity this star lays flat. I'm just going to make it political Okay, because they told me that all things happen with generations, and obviously Chinese medicine is about epigenetics, and the ladies told me I could do it. Okay, because I know how to cook and also consume. And because of I understand what an algorithm is, okay, I don't know how to like do a lot of things, but I'll tell you what, I know how to keep this safe right here. Okay, this is Lo Shu 8. This is Lo Shu 4. This is living tissue. The translation for it is biotensegrity. Okay, biotensegrity is always organic. Carbon in a tensegrity structure may or may not be organic. This is the 12-storied pagoda here. So this is the spin that either has us aligned to our experience of Earth or flipping out, freaking out. This is your dorsal node. It might have to be, I might not have the spacing right, but this here is the dorsal node. Okay, it's a node because the dorsal node maps to Sagittarius. And that gives us the experience of Bernoulli, whatever, okay, which used to be really important when we had to walk up and down stairs. Now we fly. But Bernoulli, whatever, whoever his name is, that is fluid dynamics. This is, oh no, this is Archimedes. Sorry, but it's still correct. This is arches, golden arches, McDonald's, right? Or I don't know, the arch of here. Oh, look, I just invented Fibonacci. This is the Nautilus. Thank you. But I did it by not doing math and by contemplating gravity without getting into the actual meat of what's going on here alchemically, if I'm a witch, which is life force energy. Okay. I don't fuck with that. This again is the number 7. Which I'm going to write my way. This is the number 7. It's a right angle. This is what the Buddhists call right relationship. Write this, write that. This right angle is probably 32 because I can't do my math. I'm so proud of myself. I just showed this also with this Fibonacci here as a way to contemplate mammalian experiences of menopause, but that is a surprise for the other day. That got us to 3. 2 is the axis of the planet. 2 is flat Earth. Because flat Earth, if I'm if I'm contemplating celestially, I'm going to be aware that we are not quite level. Okay, this is your Virgos. For your Virgos, all of your precision, that's another chalice. That's a chalice, not a blade. That means this is a 6. That's the only place we get the double things. You could also go to the Louvre, but this is 27 degrees or whatever. But oh my gosh, is it the same as whatever we lose in the grams? But back to your fontanelle, which is up here. So we have this whole space where we're born so that the fluidity of our brain cannot be constrained by the solidity of our bones. Lo Shu 4, Lo Shu 8. This is Lo Shu 3. $3D. Okay. But Lo Shu 3D is also a 5, is also, so this in, I understand this as the circle of fifths in music. In Taoism, it is the sexagenary cycle of how they do divination, how they do zodiac, which is another one of these. It's another Z. Okay, I am highly symbolic. This was the 7. This 7 corresponds to Vika's house. Where'd it go? Vika's house. Contrary and parallel scales. This 3 is negentropy. This is cellular growth. This is the cosmic donut. This is the bagua. This is the 12, whatever. This is the 10 heavenly stems. The 10 heavenly stems are stem cells, in case you haven't figured it out. The reason they come down as 12 is because we have to be born. Okay. I'm so sorry to inform you that no matter what you think about insemination and like ownership of whatever, it really does occur in a context. I shouldn't have done that, but that's okay. But this is what, oh, actually, that's correct. This is Lo Shu 4, and Lo Shu 4 has the arrays plotted differently, but this is the array of Lo Shu 4. And the reason that Lo Shu 4 in the array is plotted differently is because these are termination points in an infinite process. This is lifespan. This is life expectancy. I was calling it life itself because this is my Cancer corner. This is Schrodinger. This is, oh my God, of course. Cancer is the most whatever of the cells that do both fusion and fission. Thank you. Katie got that. Look how pretty it is. If it had colors, you would be amazed. So this is where we are. We got to the 6 based on the 8 with me invoking your, oh no, we got to the 6 based on 7 with me invoking your crown chakra as the Noodly appendage. Thank you. So we got to 6 from 7. This 7 is this here. Okay. But you can't put the 7 in there because it messes things up, because it redirects the flow. And what we have here is we have the 5 of the Fibonacci. This is the Starman, if you recall. Sadly, this is what a sheriff carries, but it's also your head, your shoulders, and your hips. Head, shoulders, hips, not head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Because the shoulders go to this Noodly appendage, the hips go to this one, the next one, and that one. And now you know why we have pachyderms. I thought this was going to be something else, but elephants have a prehensile nose. So an elephant is a four here. Thomas Myers has you convinced that these are tracks and trains and shit. This is your fascia. This is how fascia, this is the tensegrity of our fascia. But so elephants are a 4 with an independent 5. We don't have an independent 5. Going back to my friend Friedhof Capra, who thinks that the Taoists didn't understand anything, humans have a pivot. This is your vagus nerve. This is 10. Okay, this is the 10th cranial nerve. This is your vagus nerve because it is fixed and it innervates, it goes into and through the whole body. It has a whole pathway. But what it's sustaining, okay, it's sustaining lifting and landing. How am I doing this? It's sustaining lifting. Okay, that's our Bruno, who's his name? That's Archimedes. And landing, it's sustaining. Our vagus nerve sustains. It does not regulate. It regulates. Oh my God, this is the salience network. Holy shit. So the vagus nerve is salient in nature. And what that means is the salience network, when we get sensory motor information in, our salience network is the one that is so aware of how this 4 can look like a square instead of a cube. It is so aware of that. It first does a whole bunch of work right here. Okay, this is your olfactory. These are your eyes. These are your eyes. This is your olfactory. Okay, so this gets us from 1 to 10. Here's your cross. This is also the front of the fontanelle. I just looked at a baby skull recently. Here is a kite, right? So what your salience network is doing, I just showed you the salience. Y'all think this is acidity. This is about obtuse angles, which we have to follow algorithm and logarithm. Oh, this is log. Fuck yes. Anyway, you understand, this is all algorithm. I don't understand how you do that. If we just stay up in this top zone here, okay, this is so great because then this turning point, this pivot point, this place where I can share and do all the things. This is the 12-storied pagoda. If you haven't figured out this is your inner ear, let me show it to you again. This is your inner ear. This is, okay, 12-story pagoda. I made it weird because I'm just discussing inner ear. 12-storied pagoda is shown as a spiral staircase. It is a spiral staircase, not a rice paddy. These are rice paddies, okay? So there's no prism yet. None of this is prismatic. All of this is straight. These are lines. There's no light here yet. None. None. Okay? There is only light once you have the house around it. My poor friends who think that shadows are bad. Shadows are actually, but they can be whatever. But I do dark work, as I have mentioned. I hang out in the basement. It's fucked up down there, okay? There's a lot of going on. What I do is I just trust that everybody knows what they're doing. And I only submit to this level of potential, okay, if I know I can trust the house that's on top of it. This is how power exchange occurs. This is a house would have a whole other facing that you can't see called, I don't know, fascia. They put it on roofs. Anyway, I guess I just have to talk to myself, lecture to myself. So we did the 6s, we did the 7s, we got to the 2, which is the angle of the dangle of the world. Now I have something very weird to tell you that I have known for a very long time that apparently polyvagal theory has chosen to ignore, and that is our brain also has a tilt. The tilt of the brain. So this is 2. I will return one moment. It is later, and I've been taking a break, and I just decoded the 12 days of Christmas. So that is what we will be doing. I will create a Christmas tree and invert it and turn it into your brain. Cranial nerves, motherfucker.